The war is over, but the courtroom's just getting started. A story of how Israel puts its own wars on trial. The war is over. The rockets stopped. The jets came home, and while the world exhales in Israel, something strange starts to happen. The Supreme Court pulls out a map, and judges, they're lacing up boots. That's right. In this country, war doesn't really end with the ceasefire. It just shifts from the battlefield to the courtroom. A new kind of war begins, a legal one. Did we fight the right fight? Israel asks itself a question most countries never do. Did we fight the right war? In the right way? The bullets may have hit their targets, but now, the court aims for something else. The truth. Who made the call? Why did they do it? And who's accountable? The inquiry begins. There are 6 words that send chills down a politician's spine in Israel. A state commission has been formed. That's when things get real. The Chief Justice handpicks the chair. Generals, ministers, even Mossad agents, get summoned. That rifle you were holding last week, yeah, you're trading it in for a stack of documents. 1973, the Yom Kippur War. This was Israel's wake-up call. Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year. While people were praying for forgiveness, tanks were rolling in. The intel community had warned them, but the leaders said, nah, it won't happen. It happened. Nearly 3,000 dead. Massive national embarrassment and public fury. The Granite Commission was formed, and for the first time ever, high-ranking officers were officially shown the door. Even Prime Minister Golda Meir stepped down, not with a bang, but with a resignation letter. 2006, the Second Lebanon War. You'd think they'd learned their lesson by now, right? No. Hezbollah kidnapped 2 Israeli soldiers, and the whole thing spiraled into a full-blown war. 34 days of rocket fire. Soldiers moving through forests, cities, without a clear plan. It was chaos. The Winograd Committee later said it plainly. This war had no clear goals, and no strategy. No prison sentences. But the careers of Prime Minister Olmert and his team finished. Game over. Operation Cast Lead. Justice in the rubble. The IDF launched airstrikes on Gaza. The goal? Take out Hamas rocket sites. The result? 1,400 civilian deaths. UN schools, hospitals, even mosques hit. And white phosphorus? Yeah, that too. The world was outraged. Enter the Goldstone report. Both sides committed violations, but Israel more so. Israel responded with over 150 internal investigations. Some soldiers were charged. The generals? Not so much. The ICC? Held back. Then came the twist. Goldstone himself retracted parts of the report. He said, there wasn't enough evidence Israel intentionally targeted civilians. Because even in war, justice is messy. Baggots, the court that halts wars. Israel's Supreme Court has a special section called Baggots. This is where law meets war, literally. Human rights groups can file emergency petitions during combat. And if the court agrees, the army stops. Yes, that actually happens. House demolitions. Let's say a Palestinian militant attacks Israelis. The military wants to blow up his house, while his family's still living in it. The military says, it's a deterrent. Rights groups say, it's collective punishment. Baggots says, it's legal, if civilian harm is minimized. A legal balancing act. On the edge of a sword. Targeted killings. Drone strike on a Hamas leader? Totally possible. But only if he's a valid military target. The strike is proportional. You've got intel, and you file a post-strike report. Even assassinations come with a checklist. Kill, but make it legal. Final thoughts. Part 1. In Israel, war ends with guns, but continues in court. Because in a country where everyone serves, justice has to serve everyone in return. This is how Israel holds itself accountable. But now, let's take it a step further. Whose side is the law on? The ideal versus the reality. So, the system sounds amazing, right? Independent judges, military oversight, citizens filing lawsuits mid-war. But here's the twist. Neutrality? Easier said than done. Case 1, Sabra and Shatila. Sharon stays, then rises. A massacre in a refugee camp in Lebanon. The killers? Christian militias. But Israel had let them in. The Kahan Commission blamed Defense Minister Ariel Sharon. He resigned from that job, then became Prime Minister. So yeah, neutrality doesn't always mean consequences. Case 2, Winograd, no accountability. Another war, another investigation. The committee pointed fingers, called it a failure of leadership. Olmert didn't budge. He only left office later, when he was convicted of bribery. The war didn't take him down. Corruption did. Case 3, 2023, the judiciary under attack. Enter Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He proposed a judicial reform plan. Limit the court's power to block government decisions. Effectively neuter baggots. Judges? Furious citizens? Outraged army reservists took to the streets. It was the biggest threat to Israeli judicial independence ever. In 2023, even justice needed a flak jacket. Final thoughts, Part 2. Israel has one of the most unique legal systems in the world. It puts war, politics, and even itself on trial. But true neutrality, that's not built on systems alone. It takes courage. It takes public scrutiny. And it takes leaders who actually believe in the rule of law. Because at the end of the day, the law treats everyone equally. Yeah, that only works when everyone's actually under the law. Justice is blind, unless someone pokes her in the eye.